Hey guys, it's Adam here. I wanted to take this time to film another installment of The Grind. And in this segment, I wanted to talk about squatting. My thoughts on the proper squat, basically squatting 101 for beginners. Um, Now, most coaches will tell you not to squat past 90 degrees, that it's not advised, that it's dangerous, it puts too much strain on your knee, and that squatting parallel and above is better for quad isolation anyway. I'm going to tell you a little secret. That's total garbage. If you're not doing a full squat, then you are not saving your knees one bit. Imagine the shock to your knees, to your lower back, when you are squatting under weight and you come to a dead stop at 90 degrees. And then you try to blast up from that position. The stress on your knees is high, okay? You want to try and push past parallel every time. And if you have to drop the weight and work on technique, then do that, okay? Your knees are going to thank you when you are my age. Now, another little secret about squatting is that we are all natural squatters. I said yesterday that I've always been a natural squatter. Well, so is everybody else. You've just forgotten how to do it. You've gotten inflexible and immobile as you've gotten older. But you can fix that. Okay, you just have to take the time and focus on rebuilding that squat position. Because think about it when we were kids. Okay, through the years, I have seen my kids, the boys, the girls, squat down in front of the TV or squat down to pick something up off the floor, and they don't bend at the hip and just pick it up with stiff legs. They squat down, and they do it without even thinking about it. And how they do it is toes out, the knees come out over the toes, their head and chest is up, and they just squat down. And they just sit there for an hour. And I always smile. It just amazes me because I'm still trying to maintain that position. And it's getting harder and harder as I get older. But so that's the thing. I have to train harder and harder to maintain that position. So, and there's way too much science on YouTube these days. And one thing about this channel is you will never hear big fancy words about weightlifting. Okay, leave the science out of weightlifting. And I'm a scientist. That's my job. I work in a lab. I'm a microbiologist. And it drives me nuts when people are quoting studies on squatting, on this is the best way, that's the best way. There's only one best way, and that's a full squat. And usually when I see those people on YouTube, after they've done quoting their study and they're using all their big words, I'm sure people are thinking, wow, these guys, they know what they're talking about. They must be an authority. And then you see them squat in their demo, and they are not going past parallel. They are leaning way too forward. Their butt is sticking out way too far. Okay, they're coming up too much hip, almost like a scared cat, almost like into a good morning. Okay, and that is not going to save your back as you get older, or your knees. So how I explain squatting to people is two things. The two most important things in squatting is breathing and that stretch reflex. Okay? When you're breathing, and most people tend not to breathe when they're weightlifting, and I am guilty of this too, holding my breath, okay? Holding your breath is good, but you have to exhale that breath at the same time. And you don't exhale on the way down in a squat. Think about it when you jump into a pool. Okay, when you jump into a pool, you hold your breath. And you exhale that breath on the way up. You don't exhale your breath on the way down. Okay, so when you step out of the rack, whether it's a front squat or a back squat, you take a deep breath, you pressurize that core, and then you dive under. and you hold that breath until you come up. Then you exhale. Then you reset, and then you take a breath, hold it, squat again. The second thing is the stretch reflex. And how I explain that to new lifters is think about a standard car, okay? A manual transmission car, not an automatic. If you let that clutch out slowly, well, first of all, if you let it out fast, what happens? The car lurches forward and it stalls. If you let the clutch out slowly, there is a point before it stalls that the car moves forward again. Okay, that is the stretch reflex. So when you squat down slowly, past parallel, get that stretch reflex, okay? Your hamstrings and your glutes are loaded, okay? And you use that energy to propel yourself back up again. So once you go down, there's a point where you stretch, and it's your job to keep the car moving the rest of the way. And you don't slam down and bottom out. Everything is controlled, right? Technique, technique, technique. Work on that. But I guarantee you, if you leave the ego at home and do not, walk into a gym and throw on a ton of plates and start banging off quarter squats, you are going to excel in squatting. And one last little secret about squatting is that if you squat properly and often, I'm talking like 2-3 days a week, everything will get stronger. Everything. So, okay, guys, that is my thoughts on the squat. Work on that. Watch my previous videos. Watch the one that I'm going to put up today where I'm front squatting. You will see that stretch reflex. You will see that point where you go past parallel and then you back up again. Okay? All right. Talk to you later.